Hello, good afternoon and welcome along to Destination Wellbeing. My guest this afternoon is A.Major, and Michelle joined us a few months back, right around Halloween time I think, Michelle, because we had a decorated studio I think that day, so we had a Halloween studio, but Michelle and I are going to be chatting all things laughter today and positive wellbeing. So just again to remind our viewers, anybody that might have any concerns about physical or emotional wellbeing, to make sure that they speak with a relevant medical professional, their doctor, maybe their health visitor, nurse, anything in and around those areas that can help you with getting the right help for yourself. And then of course there's lots of other therapies and loads of other pathways that we can take out there. But laughter, Michelle, we're coming up to a few very key laughter dates in World Laughter I suppose promotion really, and we've certainly I know the UK is very lucky in that we have Dr. Madame Katari is over doing a workshop as well. So,
right.
yes. And how's all things laughter with you then?
All good? It's going great. Yeah, really good, really good. Very excited. As I say, Dr. Madame Katari is coming over. I think it's. I had to write down the dates. Saturday the 7th of June. For all us laughter yoga leaders and teachers, so it'll be great.
Brilliant, and that kicks off then, I suppose, a whole series of events that's happening then and leads into Northern Ireland Laughter Day.
Laughter Day, yeah. So that kind of kicks off the UK laughter calendar, Northern Ireland being part of that, and it is Tuesday the 10th of June is going to be Northern Ireland Laughter
So you'll be
Day.
coming up back all enthused and full of laughter bubbles and laughter beams, and then moving through. But in advance of that, World Laughter Day comes up on Sunday the 4th, and that was actually my Sunday the 4th of May. My first experience of laughter was for World Laughter Day with Michelle, and we've talked and laughed about this one a few times, but it was an outdoor experience of World Laughter Yoga. So just again, remind our viewers who maybe haven't seen or who don't know what we're talking about. We're talking about laughter yoga because people have a very stereotypical image of yoga that they forget that a lot of the breathing part of yoga gets missed when people talk about yoga, really, which is the key important part, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I always have a bit of a chuckle to myself when people come to classes, laughter yoga classes, with their yoga mat. So the yoga sometimes can be a bit confusing in that people think they're going to be doing stretches and poses, and it's not about that. It's about breath work, as you said, Joanne, because that's a key component, isn't it, to yoga practice.
To all yoga, which gets missed in how important that is, really.
Yeah. So as you know, in between the laughter exercises, we do lovely deep yogic breathing, which we know is so important to living a healthy, energetic life.
I know myself, even whenever I engage in some laughter practices, that actually coughing can be one of the side effects, but I know that's as you loosen up all of the gungs that can be sometimes lying in our lungs, or even for those of us who live a pretty healthy life, there's always, we never get the opportunity or rarely take the time to consciously breathe. And to deepen that breath.
I find that too, actually. If I have a week whereby I'm doing a lot of laughter yoga classes, you do find you can feel a wee bit phlegmy.
That doesn't sound,
But you can feel a wee bit, and that's a good sign, because it shows that, as you say, all the airways are loosening up and get rid of that
gunk that's lying in there. And both, I suppose, when we're talking about that gunk and that mucus that's lying in there, we're talking maybe both physically and emotionally, because one of the sayings that we're most familiar with, and I just was having this conversation with a friend the other day, and I was talking about how your emotions, what's going on emotionally is going to relate to what's going on physically, and they were saying, really, do you really believe that? And I was saying, well, I do, but we'll chat about it. And I said, but for years people have talked about, make sure you get that off your chest, where it's an emotional, we hold on to our emotions in our chest. So I find laughter yoga is certainly a great release for that.
I think the beauty about laughter yoga is it happens on a very unconscious level, which I love about it. So people report at the end of the session that they feel lighter. Is one thing that people say, I feel lighter, and I feel like I've let go of a lot of stuff. But they don't necessarily know what the stuff is, but they just feel it. They do feel it in their body. So
that something has shifted and changed.
And they've let go of something.
We often don't need to know what we're even letting go of. If we feel better, who cares what approach it takes. But it's important. We have a lot of different days and different themes that run throughout the UN Health Calendar, and there's loads of different dates and key days in there. But they are really important for raising awareness, I think, and we just really don't laugh enough.
Yeah, sometimes we take life a wee bit too seriously, don't we?
Get
caught up in all the to-dos and
what has to happen and this has to happen, and as adults we get older and much more cynical. I often be looking at children, and even children now I don't think are laughing nearly as much as what maybe it's because they don't laugh when we're in earshot. Could be part of it as well, but I think humour is sometimes it can often be lost. But again, as we talk about the beauty of laughter yoga being that you actually don't need anything to laugh about.
No, that's the essence of it really, is that unlike what we're told in society, we don't need comedy, sense of humour, jokes to laugh. We've got that within us, so it's I suppose it's about connecting with our laughter rather than putting it outside of ourselves to other people to make us laugh, or other things or situations to make us laugh.
But it's realising that actually it's the fake it till we make it, isn't it? It's that as you fake it, it actually, so people I think sometimes can get confused that I'm acting all of the time, but it actually becomes real.
It does, very, very soon, very, very quickly it becomes very real.
There's always one giddy giggler in the group usually, isn't there, who sets everybody else off.
But also if we look at the unconscious mind as well, we know, don't we, that it just loves repetition. So the more we do something habitually, then the more we do it just on a regular basis. So
the more familiar it becomes, and the more natural then it falls in. It falls into place. But and I know whenever we look at the whole laughter, it's part of a whole package of positivity, really, isn't it? It's one tool in the box, but there's lots of other ones out there. And I noticed on your social media there a couple of weeks ago you were chatting about your vision board and how that was unfolding, and they really are a fantastic tool to use.
It's amazing, and when you know, Joanne, because you're like myself, you love vision boards, and when you create it, it's just it's the feeling, isn't it? It's the excited feeling that you get when you look at the vision board, and then things start to happen and people show up and opportunities unfold, and before you know it, wow,
this is all is all fallen into place. And the beauty of it, again, I suppose it ties in with the laughter ethos as well, is that it doesn't have to be serious, because I think if you put most of the stuff on it, I know certainly when I was creating my first few, if I really had thought too much about it, I wouldn't have put them there sort of in the first place. So it was a bit of a fun, a bit of a light-hearted way of spending a couple of hours really, and letting your imagination, letting that child really out to play and say, you know, imagine what this could be like and what that could be like. And I mean, I remember years ago, Mummy would have always done, you know, we would have had a Little Woods catalogue in the house, or a Grafton catalogue, or there was different ones that I used to love looking through them at the pictures and thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to have that, I'm going to have that, I'm going to have, you know, and all of these things that you were going to have, but there was no real intention or thought kind of behind them, but it was fun to do. And I think vision boards are a wee bit like that, and that comparison gets used all the time, doesn't it? Where it's the catalogue of life, really.
Absolutely. And we think in pictures, don't we?
Yeah.
So it's so powerful. Visualization and imagination is so powerful.
Yeah.
Because that's how we think.
Yeah, it's how and it's getting that image and really reprogramming the brain, and just allowing it to open up to a lot more positivity and lots of different things that can go on there, and just believing that it's possible, if not definitely that it's going to happen as a starting stone.
I think that's a big part, isn't it? Is the belief and the trust. And patience, I find, as well. Yes,
patience, letting go of agenda sometimes as well, isn't it? And this rigidness of when things are going to happen and how they're going to happen. But I think if half of the stuff that a lot of us had on vision boards, if we really were trying to make it happen, and whilst you're subconsciously, and I suppose by taking part in the process, you're engaging in allowing it to happen. But if you were to worry and sit back and think, how am I going to do all of this? You'd never be done worrying, let alone try and achieve anything else. So, and they've certainly been, I mean, I think I used my first vision board maybe, it must be 6, 7, maybe 8 years ago now at this stage. And it's funny looking back. It's great to look back on them as well and think all that has come into play.
Absolutely.
But
absolutely. I remember actually my first job doing a vision board, but not realising that it was a vision board
Yes.
when I was 21.
Yeah.
And it was very materialistic. At 21. It was all about cars, nice cars, and holidays and things. Not that there's anything wrong with those things, that's okay. But I didn't actually realise what I was doing. But I was doing it because it felt good. But then it was only in later years when I started to sort of study the law of attraction, I realised, gosh, I had been doing that at 21 and not even giving it a second thought, just doing it.
Yeah, well, I think we often meet people as well who, I know a few of them quite well, that if you mentioned the law of attraction, they would laugh at you and say, but they live it. So it's back to that same thing, that they actually live it without even really realising what they're doing. And we're always engaged in creation and in creating our lives, whether that's positively or negatively.
Exactly, whether we're conscious and aware of it or not.
It's just happening. We're sort
exactly,
of
but it's much more
by.
fun when you're in control of it and you're sort of in the driving seat of your destiny. It's much more fun.
Well, it reminds me of, I was at a horse riding lesson one night a number of years ago, and it was a group lesson, and the instructor shouted out and she said, "Are you riders or are you passengers?" And I thought, it's such a fantastic analogy for life. Are we sitting back waiting for life to take us, as some of us were on the horses that evening, and myself probably included, letting the horse take me around the arena rather than me being in control and taking the horse around. And I think sometimes we can look at life a wee bit like that.
Yeah,
so
we can become complacent, can't we? And we can just kind of mull through our days, and before we realise it, another year has passed, and we get to the all too often and familiar sort of New Year's Eve, don't we? And the whole New Year's Eve New Year resolutions kicks in again.
Yeah.
So,
and they're already, we're in April now of this year, and but the beauty of, I think, of goal setting is that you can certainly do it at any time. And we can move past. New Year's resolutions are obviously, for obvious reasons, tied to the new year, but with goal setting you can decide at any point, okay, I'm going to reevaluate, I'm going to look at something different here, and a different path. And I like to work with that, and I find even just looking at the lunar cycle and looking at the moon as a very powerful way, because that gives us sort of something visual, even as you're looking at the moon in the sky, you're kind of watching it changing, and you're seeing all of the different faces that are appearing, and you're thinking, okay, well, my goals, are they progressing the same way as the rest of the world and the universe as such? But so are there any, as of yet, any events planned, or will it be a case of all, hopefully, I know for Northern Ireland Laughter, it's all major towns will hopefully have some events?
Hopefully so, and I certainly would be encouraging all of the laughter community to organise their own events in their own communities, in their own towns, in their own cities. I use a centre called Kilcronahan Centre out in Tobermoor, sort of Mid-Ulster area. So I'll be doing a 2-hour laughter and happiness event that Sunday from 11 until 1.
Lovely.
But just check on Facebook.
Keeping up with the Sunshine Project there on Facebook, and looking at local press and stuff as well, because there'll be that's where we're going with plans and visions and what's happening. So all of this stuff will all be now starting to roll out and hit there. And I know locally here we've a big event on the 4th of May, which is happening, and it's Hands Up Sleeve Gullion. So we've a chain of people going from the bottom of Sleeve Gullion right to the top for 4 local charities. So that's a fantastic event. And so there's lots of different things happening to get communities and things together. But tying in then with Laughter Day, hopefully locally in Newry we'll have some, with Northern Ireland Laughter Day we'll have some events going on in Newry. As you say, your events will be happening, and they'll just be rolling out, and even a group of people getting a few friends together to have a laugh. It doesn't have to be, and I think that's another important topic when we look at health and well-being, is about taking ownership and doing it ourselves, really, isn't it?
So if we look at, as I always say, if we look at the bigger picture of the world, and the whole mission and vision of laughter yoga is world peace. But when we look at world peace, we think, goodness gracious me, that's a huge big task, isn't it? But if we chunk that down, peace starts with me.
Yes.
Doesn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah, and it's taking it piece at a time.
Piece-
Yeah, and one piece at a time, and me
Exactly.
being a piece of that. So
Exactly. So, all of us collectively contribute to society, contribute to the greater good, and contribute to the globe. So if we can become more peaceful within ourselves, then it's like a wee nice ripple effect, isn't it? Our families become more peaceful, our friends, our communities. So it has a knock-on effect.
well, it's that be the change that you want to see in the world, and I know the Dalai Lama is also a big believer in that. You know, that peace. If the world was filled with peaceful people, then there would be no war. There would be no difficulties of any level. But as you say, and laughter and fun, it's taking ownership, because we can be back to, are we the riders or the passengers? But we can be, we can wait for somebody else to do it, or something else, it to happen some other way. But it's something we can all embrace. And I know we're talking to viewers there who maybe are thinking, well, okay, I maybe haven't done laughter yoga, but it's, you know, it's just embracing that fun and happiness, and a fancy dress party, you'll get a few laughs going, and you just build on that, really, isn't it? And it's finding ways. But and as Michelle mentioned, you know, the vision for laughter clubs were that it would be world peace, but and that does definitely start with the individual working out within their own community and doing what they can, because we can all do something.
Absolutely.
It's sitting back and just waiting for this sort of mighty big laughter bubble to drop into our worlds isn't going to happen necessarily, but we can certainly all embrace it. So any big plans at the minute, Michelle, for programs? I know you have some training courses.
I do. I have the 2-day certified laughter yoga leader training will be taking place next month again in Kilcronahan. Beautiful centre out there. I'm very supportive of Lorraine, and all the work that Lorraine does within the local community is fantastic, and it's just a beautiful centre. Nice.
There's a lovely feel to it.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? So that's coming up next month, and as I say, sort of lots of other projects happening within the community. Be Happy Now, something that I deliver, and it's very popular.
Yeah, it's growing, and all working with mental health and well-being.
Yeah, mental health, well-being, all different types of groups, and more recently I've just started working with ethnic minority groups, the Polish community and Lithuanian community.
Okay, fantastic.
So which is brilliant, which is great.
It's fantastic.
So it means that it's all about empowerment, like yourself.
Yeah.
You know, we both have the
same ethos. Yeah, sometimes blending one into, but it is, as you say, you know, I know ethnic minority groups as well can sometimes feel very disengaged from what's going on in the rest of the community. But laughter's global, and happiness is global,
and
you
we're
know,
all the same.
yeah,
we all have the same fears. We all have the same expectations. We all have the same emotions. So when you strip everything back, we are all
human beings, or spiritual beings, in whichever way we want to look at that. But and I know even locally, that around home I'd be familiar with, you know, concerns around mental well-being within the ethnic community, because of that disengagement. We all want to belong, and we all need support. And I know I've travelled at different stages and found myself often on a Sunday morning going to Mass, and I'll not say that it was particularly just for the religious reasons, but it was for the sense of community, for feeling that somebody somewhere had something similar to me, and that's belonging. Yeah, it's really needing that sense of belonging.
So important.
But laughter unites everybody, and what did they say? They say smiling is the universal language, isn't it? It's lovely. So, but those are fantastically exciting projects to be worked with, because, as you say, you're empowering individuals as well, and supporting, and then the growth and the development that happens yourself as well. So it's all
goodness, it's incredible.
It's all interlinked.
There's a lovely quote: "As I teach, I grow," and I always say that. You know, as I teach with different groups, I grow myself as a person. So, and I get so inspired by other people's stories, and we're, you know, watching them transform as well, and having the courage.
Yeah, the one I like as well is we're all teachers, we're all students. We're, you know, and that's in all levels of life. We're always constantly learning from everybody. But I think embracing that sort of positive mindset and not letting life be too serious, and looking at all opportunities, whether they're positive or we perceive them as negative, that they're really just all opportunities for growth and learning and developing, aren't they?
Absolutely. And I think as well, what I suppose very drawn to lately, or have been working a lot with women, sort of connecting with that energy of the female energy, and us women sticking together.
Yes, and
as well.
Yeah, and I know it's, again, we've this idea. I think the whole thing has changed really, and I think women have realised that maybe some of the earlier models of feminism just aren't working for us. They're really not working for young women, because we're now expected to be everything to everybody and nothing to ourselves. And you know, it's all happening, and we're expected to have the career, we're expected to be the mother, we're expected, all of these roles come in, and that brings its pressures in itself, doesn't it?
I see it every day of the week, women of all ages, and it's not, I don't think there's any particular age that's not affected by social pressures in society. You know, the pressure that women are put under today is incredible. I think the pressure sometimes we put ourselves under. Yeah,
well, we're our own biggest slave drivers, aren't we? I mean, we really are. We push ourselves more and expect more from ourselves, really, than anybody else would ever expect from us. So I know, and it doesn't seem that long ago now, but I suppose it's just over 2 weeks since Mother's Day, and that whole the energy that can sometimes get lost in that as well, because we often forget what's really at the core of it, don't we? And March having International Women's Day as well, and you know, I remember doing a talk a number of years ago at an event for International Women's Day, and I might not have been the most popular person in the room, but because I challenged this idea that we need to be everything to everybody, that we sort of need to look after ourselves, and but also that as women we have such a powerful choice in things that can empower other women throughout the world. So what clothes we're wearing, what cosmetics we're using, and how all of that's impacting. So that it's okay to talk about equality for women, but what does it actually mean? Are we prepared to stand up and be counted and have our voices heard?
Absolutely. I think that's so important, and I think what you touched on is sometimes women struggle with this idea of putting ourselves first. Totally. And I hear this all the time, but is that not selfish, Michelle, putting yourself first? And we know that the most important relationship we'll ever have is the one we have with ourselves. It's the most important one. So I think it's just kind of empowering women that, you know, by being selfish, we can be selfless.
Yeah, and it's the image, I see it right with young girls from very, very, very young age, that they have this fear of loving themselves, and we really have such an image that it's not about that the package of love is respect. It's it's self-care. It's not a conceited image that is often there. It's not vanity, and it's not thinking you're better than anybody else either, because we've that risk that particularly if I think someone perceives me as thinking I'm better than them, then I don't want that. I'm frightened of that. But it's self-love and self-respect inside, isn't it? So, which can all again come back to not taking yourself so seriously and having a bit of fun. So, well, Michelle, it's fantastic to have you in this afternoon. Thank you for joining me. Covered lots of different topics there, but hopefully all that will be inspiring, and as Michelle said, maybe particularly for women, but hopefully not just for women. There's something in there for men as well, because I do think that's a whole other topic for another day. But we'd Martin in last week to do the men's side of things, so we'll go for the women this week. Let it all balance out, and with anybody who is maybe watching in for the first time, there's a whole resource of Destination Wellbeing's available now, and we've covered so many different topics that certainly it's fast becoming a really strong online catalogue of tools that people can use, and really strong, powerful guests that are working in the field tirelessly to really make a difference to people's lives. So there's lots available there, and everything from fertility, laughter, addiction, anything across the whole range. Hopefully at this stage, as I say, we're growing that catalogue all the time. So, and it's been fantastic to have such good quality, passionate people who are really working. I think we're very blessed in the local area and throughout Northern Ireland, really, to have such fantastic resources now, because a few years ago it was something that was quite it was American, or you had to go to America, you had to go to England, but we've a lot happening in Ireland now as well. So
and can I just say thank you to you, Joanne?
You're very welcome. Thank you,
You're
Michelle.
so good at thanking other people, but thank you to you, because programs like this just raise awareness and help raise global consciousness as well. So what you're doing within the local community, not only on this channel, but what you're doing within the community and within Ireland is fantastic.
Thank you. Thanks a million.
Thank
you. Thanks a million. Can't forget about me. Thank you. And I'll take that very graciously accepted, Michelle. Thanks a million. And to all of our viewers for watching in, because obviously without viewers and without people watching in, there'd be no point in having the programme. So we're engaging with everybody there, and of course to the team in Destination Wellbeing for making it all happen and doing all the technical bits while Michelle and I just sit here and chat. But thanks a million. And we finished with a laugh as well, so we've got some laughter in there too. But do look out for the events for World Laughter Day. Wee bit of lightheartedness, bit of fun, and certainly just see where it goes and see where it can take you. Thank you very much, and thank you to Andrew and camera. Thanks, Michelle.
Bye.